Hey everyone, it's your old pal James here. It occurred to me that we haven't really talked about our Patreon much lately. That's because John and I are both not great at social media and worse, soliciting for money. Having said all that, if you go to patreon.com/thismayhurtabit podcast, you'll find that we have two tiers. For $5 a month, you get a bonus episode each month where we talk about something related to the main feed. Past episodes may include, when we talked about Warlock, we also talked about the Queen of Black Magic. When we were doing our series on Sleepaway Camp, we talked about other camp slashers such as Cheerleader Camp, Just Before Dawn, The Burning, Mad Men. When we talked about Hellraiser on the main feed, we dove into all the other Clive Barker nastiness that you could want, including Rawhead Rex and Lord of Illusions. For $8 a month, we release about 2 episodes a month of our coverage of Twin Peaks. Is that a bit of a curveball? Sure, but we love Twin Peaks and you should too. Currently, we have some folks that are signed up for the free tier, which is great. Welcome. But we don't do a whole lot with that. This month, we put out a poll of what we should cover in relation to our Fright Night main feed episodes. We chose a few vampire movies and got a really nice response. Even came back with a tie from everybody on Instagram. So on our next Patreon episode, we will be covering both Shadow of a Vampire and the classic Near Dark. Anyway, thanks to everyone for listening. Thanks for those of you that want to throw us a few bucks our way and get some extra horrors in your feed. And if just our 2 shows a month is enough for you, we're still glad you're here.
The worst horror movie I ever saw was fucking great.
Hello and welcome to This May Hurt a Bit. My name is James Strayer and this is
John C. Myers.
And we are a horror franchise podcast discussing each film in horror franchises. And today we are discussing Fright Night from 2011, the big remake. This is a great case of, I remember liking this when it came out. And now watching this within context of the podcast and just having rewatched the original, I didn't like this one so much this time around. And it was, I turned it on and I was like, oh yeah, this will be kind of fun. This is a good one. And while there's still things that I will definitely pick out that I liked about it, watching it this close to the other Fright Night, which I quite like, was difficult.
On its own, I still don't love it, but on its own, it's fine.
Yeah.
But as a remake of Fright Night, it fails in a lot of ways.
This was not a Fright Night movie. I'd probably think, it's all right. You know, It's perfectly fine, 2011. This movie just seemed to lack so much of the joy of the first one. And I'm not saying it went intentionally darker necessarily all around. I don't get the same impression that everybody was kind of full of glee while making this movie like the first ones.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I do think there was probably an urge to go darker because this was 2011. You know, vampires were kind of big. Like the first Twilight came out in like 2008.
Yeah. Which
Which is wild. I put that as like way earlier.
Yeah, me too.
That was a cultural force.
Mhm.
Vampires are everywhere, but they were sensitive vampires. And then you had the super sexy True Blood vampires going on.
Vampire Diaries, you know?
Yeah. So you want to do something a little bit different. And I think they wanted to go a little tougher and a little meaner.
Yeah.
But obviously they still keep to the comedy element of this, or what they think is the comedy element of this.
Colin Farrell remains the bright spot of this movie for me. Like, I think that he was pretty solid. Not in every bit. The makeup is atrocious, if you even call it makeup. But
Right.
I still enjoyed watching him. Maybe because I just thought it was kind of funny watching him walk around in little tiny t-shirts and like make Toni Collette swoon. I thought that was fun. And he has a little bit of a menace to him. But yeah, I kind of miss Chris Sarandon instead.
Generally, the cast I pretty much like. I just think they've made some odd changes to try to update it because late night horror shows weren't really the thing anymore.
Yeah.
And just a lot of those elements didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, like I said, like I feel like there was this push. The scriptwriter Marty Noxon herself, or it was like, you know, the director, producers, whatever, where it's like, well, okay, so we want to do this different vampire thing, but then we also, Marty Noxon is from Buffy, and that world, the Joss Whedon of it all is kind of big still around that time, is getting big. Avengers has happened pretty recently.
Yeah.
We don't want that kind of acerbic nonsense going on. But then we also want to add, Superbad. We like the Superbad, and we got Christopher Mintz-Plasse, so let's make it a little raunchy too.
Yeah.
And I feel like there are these competing forces in there that are all just kind of slamming together that don't make it as light and coherent as the original one was.
Right. I had forgotten when I pushed play on this who our Evil Ed is this time around.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not fully, I'm not against Mintz-Plasse. I think that I think he's fine in Superbad. And occasionally when I see clips of that, I'm like, look, I don't identify with that movie so much, but I'm just, but like, I am not above dumb, raunchy boy humor at all.
Oh, sure.
At all. And I think he's just fine in Superbad, but how much I loved Evil Ed, especially rewatching it this time, I was like, oh, good grief, guys. It makes sense for the time to plug him in there, but I really missed the real Evil Ed. And then I thought, is Christopher Mintz-Plasse our modern day Eddie Deason?
That's tough.
Is he our new Deason?
I don't think so. I'm gonna give him credit and say no, because I think he has a bit more range than
Maybe
Eddie
it's the
Deason,
look.
or at least I think it's the look, and like he gets cast to play nerd guys, but like he also got to be evil in the bad guy in Superbad, not Superbad, in Kick-Ass.
That's true. Yeah. Oh,
whatever,
I forgot about
like,
Kick-Ass. Yeah.
It's a type. It's an Eddie Deason type.
Yeah. Yeah. And a few of the things that they did with that relationship, I wasn't that much of a fan of. But I don't know, like I'm struggling with yes, I completely understand that they need to update everything. And it makes sense what they did, but it just didn't, work for me. It didn't make me feel good watching the movie.
Because you don't want them to just do, hey, here's Fright Night again, but just everyone has modern clothes.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, obviously it's going to do its own thing, but yeah, they really kind of got rid of the exotic stuff with the vampire, be it the homosexual subtext or the polycule or whatever. It's now just like this kid is becoming a man, and like his father figures in this movie are potentially Jerry, the bad alpha male shithead.
Yeah.
Or a different kind of shithead, Peter Vincent.
Yes.
Who they made a magician this time around, which is funny until you think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Because it doesn't make any sense. It's still lovely to see David Tennant. I really enjoy David Tennant. I think they completely screwed up that character.
Yes.
Unnecessarily. And they also, I think what you're saying with Christopher Mintz-Plasse, they try to make Charlie Brewster, this time played by Anton Yelchin, more like your everyday teen by, well, he kind of likes this stuff, but he's really embarrassed about it. He's trying to hang out with the cool kids. Mm-hmm. And so he's got that change too. And I just think it's kind of a hat on a hat where it's like you're putting too much of like this tumultuous, he's trying to find himself thing on top of it, when it could have just been, this guy's into horror and turns out horror is real, which is just simple. Instead, it's just like, well, I kind of like nerd stuff, which I guess horror is a part of. Mm-hmm. It's not. Horror is super cool. But that it's like, it's that battle. And then it's the battle between humans and vampires and finding yourself and standing up for yourself without being the toxic masculinity. But then they don't do enough with that toxic masculinity. It's just all pretty toothless. Yeah. Forgive the pun, I guess.
For a vampire, it's toothless.
For a vampire movie, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be impossible to talk about this movie without constantly referencing the first one. But it was what I was thinking about most of the time when I was watching this. And so if we skim over certain things in the synopsis, it's more because I'm thinking about the previous one and how this one traded on it. Even the opening scene with the kid's family getting destroyed was just like, wow, they're really coming out the gate swinging with this. And now, granted, I said that I liked in the original one that we're not sitting around going like, is he a vampire or is he not? I liked just sort of knowing. But I thought that there's something way more elegant about seeing Charlie see coffins getting wheeled into a house instead of us as the audience seeing a family get massacred.
Right. Well, yeah, because it's you're joining Charlie on that journey, whereas this time he's really being drug along because it's Evil Ed that finds this stuff and tries to convince Charlie. And Charlie's like, oh, I don't think so, until Evil Ed disappears. yeah, it's like, say what you will about the suburbs, but the move from just anywhere, suburbia, wherever he is, to the middle of the Las Vegas desert, to this like sparse cookie cutter houses in the middle of nowhere, just feels bad.
Yeah.
It already feels more like artificial and fake, versus like, oh, this is a home that's being invaded. This just feels like this is this strange community in the middle of nowhere. It made it seem less like home is being invaded than just a movie set is being invaded.
I can get on board with, like, they make a couple of references about, like, hey, it's Vegas, baby. Like, people kind of come and go here. And like, that works. That to me is a better non-Fright Night vampire movie. It doesn't feel like Fright Night.
Like, okay, that may be. Then why is he murdering everybody in the neighborhood? That seems like a bad move.
Right. Go to the strip.
Right. Yeah. Because we find out why he does kind of what he does a little bit later, or at least it's assumed that's why he's doing it. But yeah, you in Vegas, just go anywhere, get anybody. Like, are you that lazy, Colin Farrell?
Right.
I mean, he's over 400, so I guess, he's just like,
let him come to me. A vampire attacks a family. They all get blasted in the opening. There's a commercial of Peter Vincent on screen, and it's not Fright Night, the television show, the horror host. It's Peter Vincent, mind freak.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's a Chris Angel type of Vegas performer who's also an occultist. And immediately I go, well, I'm out. There's so much wrong with this. I mean, like, it is. And again, I understand that it's just to my taste. Like, my personal taste is an old horror movie host above an illusionist 10 times out of 10. But when Peter Vincent is now sexy, successful, rich, dresses not well, but, for what he's doing, he's got $400 leather pants on and everything. I have no sympathy for this guy at all.
There's no reason for him to help.
Yeah.
They fill it in later with this ridiculous backstory that gives him a reason, but like, there's no reason why he would be going to David Tennant in the first place. There's no reason why David Tennant would be like, yeah, you know what, I'll help you. It just feels so phony. And yet, like, as far as being a charlatan goes, magician's up there. So it's not really a shock that he's completely full of shit. The magician?
Right. The illusionist, please.
Sorry.
No, the mind freak. He's going to freak your mind. Consensually, of course.
And his magic trick is a stage show where we've only seen a little bit of it. And when he's not doing a stage show, he's just yelling at his hot wife, girlfriend, or whatever, who's there to just be yelled at and be scantily clad.
And drinking. Again, to me, it goes beyond personal taste, just preferring old monster movie hosts to illusionists. But just like, I have no reason to like care about the guy. As
far as like needing to make a change, sure, that makes sense. What they changed it to doesn't, or at least how they handled it doesn't. Because it's just, we see him a little bit later on, like, pretend to be a news guy to get access to Peter Vincent. But then later he just does. Yeah. It's fine. They explain it away like when there's after like a vampire attack, but it's still just, it's weird that they're even in contact. Whereas in the first one, it's like, because this guy's actually a loser who hosts like a public access show. Yeah. And he needs money. Yeah.
And you can find that man in the parking lot at 6 p.m. after they wrap for the day. He is accessible.
Right.
We are introduced to Toni Collette as Charlie's mom. She's just as delightful as ever. Well, maybe not delightful, but she's fine. She works with what she has, but I just like seeing her. Yeah, I'm a fan of Toni Collette. I don't like, because, I mentioned Buffy earlier, like this is written in that mode. And so everyone is either annoyed or acerbic. And it's like, there's just two moves and I hate it. And it's just like, everyone kind of talks the same. And like, he has the same relationship with his mom that he does with his girlfriend. And they keep pairing up his mom and his girlfriend. And it's weird. Are you his mom or are you just a friend that's hanging out? Yeah. Whatever. There's a lot of problem with parentage in this movie because like the girlfriend's parents, like when she's at the hospital, she's like, no, I'm not at a party. Yeah. And they're like, well, that's okay then. Yeah. And then I'm not worried about it. Right. I haven't seen you in days, but whatever. But like the first, I would say, hour of this movie, the script was crushing me. It was real bad. Yeah. Yes. And then to crush you further, there's a Dave Franco that appears. He's no James Franco, but I'm not much of a Francophile. If you get my drift,
Yeah, I'm okay with Dave. I really enjoyed him in Love Lies Bleeding.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's still in like in jerk mode.
Mm-hmm.
Like he now makes me think of the guy from Final Destination 5 that I think when we did that one said reminds me of Dave Franco. Oh. So now they're just one and the same to me. But
sure.
No, I mean he's fine, but it's again this issue that comes up a lot in these movies where it's particularly these more modern movies where it's why are these people hanging out together? Yeah. No one likes each other.
Right. You know, my group of friends in high school did certainly a certain amount of ball busting and stuff like that. But like, it was never mean spirited, you know, like what a lot of this kind of stuff comes off as.
Yeah. Just again, acerbic or unhappy or, you know, annoyed. Like that's what everyone in 2011 feels.
So here we get the more full introduction of Evil Ed, and some of this stuff did work for me. The one friend is trying to be cooler and like leave his nerdy predilections behind. I just think that they could have done more with it. And yes, I know just naming a thing in a movie doesn't make it a joke, but when he did say like,
"You want me to go tell your pals how well we really know each other? The Lego contests, the Farscape conventions, the costumes."
Well, at least it pulled a deeper pull than just saying Star Trek, you know, because Farscape people are dorks, man. You know?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I can barely even put Farscape in my brain. I'm just thinking of Babylon 5 right now, actually. So
Farscape, you showed them.
Yeah. Farscape is a notch below Babylon 5. I thought that there was a little bit of fertile ground to do something here. And I think part of what I was annoyed with is I wish that Evil Ed wouldn't have been turned so early and that they could have used this as like a way to kind of come back together as friends.
Yeah.
Like, oh, let's go on a vampire hunting mission together and, you know, relive our friendship through nerdy things. And that would be just fine.
Well, because there's also not a sense of friendship there. You know that they used to go do stuff together, but now they just hate each other, I guess, because they're just jerks to each other. And then the way the Evil Ed can try to get him to do something is through blackmailing him. Now, granted, in the original one, yeah, there's a weird, I don't fully understand their relationship because he calls him Evil Ed and Evil Ed gets pissed at that, but then they're friends.
Yeah.
But this is specifically like, I don't like you, you suck. Yeah, well, I don't like you, you suck now, but still help me.
Yeah. And the blackmail, I mean, it was kind of funny to me. In high school, I used to play D&D with a group of kids, and one of them was our childhood friend from middle school, but he'd become a football player. And it was a big secret that he did not want to get out, that he was a dwarven fighter on the weekends. So I could definitely kind of like relate to all that. Having said that, John, what is your video blackmail that if I were to put that out of you in high school? Was it LARPing in the backyard like they were?
No, it was like stupid videos I made for classes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
There was one where it was supposed to be about the death of Rasputin, and my friend Zach like hooked up squibs. He made a vest out of linoleum and then put like black cats underneath to be assassinated. But it was all centered around drinking Yoo-hoo for some reason because we thought it was funny. But basically anything, if I'm on camera, you can use that as blackmail against me because I don't. Well, actually, you know what? This podcast you could use against me because I don't want people observing me. Yeah, that's terrible.
Let's release this, everyone.
Yeah.
I'll be doing that in about a week and a half. But
I like that idea, and it does arguably like deepen the character in a way that it's not just like, well, he's a horror guy, but it's also not necessary.
Yeah.
I don't care about him anymore because of that. I can identify like, oh yeah, I know that thing, but I don't know. I still don't think Charlie Brewster's that interesting of a guy. Yeah. And I think he's made even less so because he's just there reacting to everyone around him.
Not to get nitpicky, but I'm just now thinking of this too. It's just, by this time, I feel like horror is pretty mainstream anyway. Like plenty of cool people like horror now and even in 2011. So him talking about horror hosts wouldn't be as quote unquote nerdy as maybe it would have been in the early 80s. Now, running around with foam swords, that's still kind of nerdy. So I get that level. But if they're going to lay this part out, there could have been more done with it throughout the movie. And I would have liked to have seen a little bit more sweetness between the two of them like we got in the first one. And I think they could have brought them together. But they change Evil Ed in the first 20 minutes of the movie. So
there's not much change for his for Charlie's obsession.
Yeah.
Like changing his life.
Right.
In this. It's just like, no, he's just kind of a kid and then he's got to deal with this nonsense.
Now we've got a Jerry. We've got a Colin Farrell hanging around. He's eating a green apple in the front yard. He's got like a big dumpster that he's supposed to move. Oh yeah, because Toni Collette is a real estate agent. That's a fact basically for one cool thing in like halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
With the sign. But otherwise, doesn't really come into play. He comes on screen and he just sort of charms the mom and then slinks away again. And it looks like a little dusk, I guess, is what they're going for here. Yeah.
He's doing some night gardening.
Night gardening, yeah.
Because he does night construction on the strip, so he sleeps during the day.
Next day, Charlie meets up with Evil Ed, and Evil Ed knows that Jerry is a vampire. So this is the whole switcheroo. It's Ed that's like running this whole thing and has to convince Charlie that it's the case, which, of course, as you were saying, lends to Charlie just not doing a whole lot, at least for the first 40 minutes of the movie. They do make a reference to it being a terrible vampire name that was kind of funny.
Yeah, he's a vampire, man.
My neighbor.
Yeah.
Next door.
Yeah.
Jerry, I just met him.
Okay, Jerry.
That is a terrible vampire name. Jerry?
Well, they do it a couple of times and it is kind of funny, but it's also like, yeah, you think maybe that was the point of the first one, that is like, because he had an unassuming name, that it wasn't like, oh, you know what? I think my neighbor Vlad Tepes might be up to something.
Yeah.
My neighbor Baron von Suckaneck, I think he might be a vampire. That's crazy. Suckaneck? No, he's normal.
No, Jerry. Yeah. Evil Ed knows that Peter Vincent is a master of the occult, and this is where he starts laying the groundwork for getting in touch.
Yeah. Which, I'll wait until we get to Peter Vincent with that. But it's just like all the more reason that none of this makes sense with him. But yeah, since Peter Vincent is the master of the occult, he will certainly know things about vampires. He's like, you got to help me kill this vampire. Charlie's like, no.
Yeah.
Why don't I not do that?
Yeah.
You're crazy.
So Ed decides that he's going to take matters into his own hands, puts together like a vampire killing kit, and he goes out on his own.
What I love is that he describes Peter Vincent as an expert in vampire methodology, which is just like, that's a book on Glenn Danzig's shelf. And
absolutely.
That's the route they should have gone. They should have had like a rocker guy like Glenn Danzig,
so cool,
who's like so into this stuff. But then when it's revealed, he's actually like, oh shit, no, I think that stuff's cool. I'm not, that's a little bit more believable to me than a magician. But
man, that's such a better premise, because you could have like the guy who used to be like an Alice Cooper on stage, like used to do all the stage theatrics, now is playing like a shitty club on the strip. Can't squeeze into his leather pants as easily as he used to. So much low-hanging fruit there. Yeah. But then that idea of like, no, I just think this shit's cool. Like, I can't actually do anything. That'd be great.
Yeah. But then put to it, it's like, but.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, while Ed is trying to track down Jerry, Dave Franco shows up and kicks him off his skateboard, snags all of his vampire killer tools. And of course, Ed ends up running into Jerry, takes him into a swimming pool and turns him.
This lacks so much of the punch and the subtext of the original one. But what I like is that he follows Ed into a house because Ed thinks he's safe in there because vampires can't get in without being let in. And he's like, no one lives here. I can just come in.
I thought you did your homework. You've been watching me. I've been watching you.
But the way he kind of makes it sound is that he just looked at Ed and went, I bet that guy's going to learn about vampires. I should take him out.
Right.
And I mean, you can probably figure that out by looking at certain people that they're going to be learning about vampires.
Sure.
Or they already know a lot about them. But but he gives a little bit of a speech like, hey, you're different.
You say you're glad you're different.
Get back!
How can you be in a place like this? These people, even your best friend, you're nothing to him now. You were born for this.
You don't feel it. It's just him saying that. It's because it's just, because he's a nerd.
Sure.
And it also just doesn't feel like you've seen Evil Ed be that different. He's just a nerd who's being ostracized. He doesn't have that same twerpy performance as Stephen Jeffries. So it just is pretty empty. It's just like, if you've seen the first one, you know what this is, but otherwise he's just taking him out.
Well, and also they take him out so quickly. And so we just don't have time to sit with him and allow that performance. Charlie gets access to Evil Ed's room. And
surprise Lisa Loeb jump scare.
Yes.
She opened the door and I was like, wait, what? That's Lisa Loeb.
It was really her? Okay.
Yeah, that's her. Jeez. Yeah, which is funny because then, I was talking to my partner about it. I was like, did Lisa Loeb do anything else except that one song? And very prolific, has been like made all kinds of stuff, like written children's albums, acted and stuff.
All right.
Okay.
Great.
Good job, Lisa Loeb. But not expecting to see her. But yeah, he goes to visit and they're like, yeah, go up to his room. That's fine.
Yeah. He sees on Ed's computer monitor some Peter Vincent info up there. And then he also manages to see videos that Ed took of Jerry's arrival, but then also it's implied that Ed was hanging out with the kid in the first scene, this guy named Adam. And so no vampires show up on video. Is that true, John? Like when you get footage from clients to edit
of vampires,
like, there's no vampires in this.
No, it's so frustrating because I always say fix it in pre. Make sure they're not vampires before you actually shoot.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised how often people don't do that.
Right. But you would be probably right in thinking that none of the vampires are showing up on your footage because you just haven't seen them, correct?
Right. So, well, actually, yeah, that's actually more of a problem with the makeup department because I think if you put enough makeup on a vampire, they would show up like the Invisible Man.
Right? Yeah. So yeah, that's their whole updating instead of the mirror. Then I don't know. One of the better scenes of the movie is the next bit where Jerry shows up to bum a few beers from Charlie, and he can't come into the house. And that's the premise of the entire scene. He's got to be invited in. Charlie's saying nuts to that, not doing it. And I think I could just watch Colin Farrell do this scene over and over again because he is chewing that scenery like crazy and it's fun, especially his final look at Charlie before he goes off. Yeah,
it's very odd because it's like when you pull back and think about it, the stranger has just come to, you've met the neighbor, whatever, but the neighbor just comes over and is like, hey, can I have your mom's beer?
Yeah.
And that's just a thing you're going to tell your mom, like, you're like 18-year-old child. The reason the beer is gone is because I gave it to the neighbor.
Yeah.
That's
and
believable.
For the reasoning too, because he's got to, make time with some chicks out there and he's all out of beer.
After he gives him the beer, I don't know if the move here is he's trying to ingratiate himself to it. He's trying to Charlie. He's trying to scare him. But he just goes into this whole speech about
women who look a certain way. They need to be managed. It's true.
And then how like your mom smells of desperation and your girlfriend's hot. Good luck out there.
Get used to it, buddy.
He's kind of big dogging him a bit, I guess.
Right.
But it was an odd moment.
Yeah.
But again, I think that they're really trying to sell that alpha male aspect of it.
Sure. And he shows up wearing like t-shirt and like muscles going nuts and like glistening and looking all looking very alpha male. Hey, drinking Budweiser, that's an alpha male move.
Yeah, not Bud Light. The full force stuff.
Yeah.
Then but it cuts right after that to him walking upstairs with his backpack and his girlfriend's like, "Where have you been? You told me to meet you here in an hour." And it's like, yeah, he was just downstairs. What do you?
Oh,
where was he?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And this is another thing that they flip for this modern idea. Instead of Charlie pressuring Amy for sex, like this Amy is a lot more in control over all this kind of stuff. And she's by no means pressuring Charlie, but she's being a little bit more aggressive. She is she's in control here.
Right. Which sort of, again, like you lose that moment from the first one where it's like, oh, Charlie's just been like, hey, let's do this. Yeah. And then, but the vampire, now I'm not interested. Whereas this is like, it hasn't really ever come up.
Right.
They've just had like fun, quippy back and forth. And then she's like, hey, what if we had sex? And he's like, but I'm worried about vampires and my mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other one did a better job, I think, or the original did a better job of him like being distracted by something where it seems like at the moment he would go like, yeah, I'm sure mom will be fine for like 10 minutes.
Sure. He eventually hears a scream coming from Jerry's house, sees him getting rid of some cops outside. So Charlie sneaks into Jerry's house, And you get a kind of a long faffing about scene of like it thinks it's more tense than it is, or at least for me personally, it was just the hiding around corners, cat and mouse type of deal of being stuck in the house.
Right, because Jerry takes off, presumably to go hunting.
Yeah.
So he's just driving around the block, I guess.
Yeah.
And inside finds the woman. Jerry has cages, I guess, or boxes, cells. For people, and that this woman is inside, and he's going to go try to rescue her. Mm-hmm. It did seem weird. Like, why wouldn't he just kill him? Just, what are you doing?
Right.
But I do like that he manages to free her and comes out in the sunlight and she blows up.
Yeah.
That punchline to that scene was very funny.
I didn't like the effect so much, but I did like he's trying to be doing the right thing, takes a ride out in the sun, blows up. His
reaction in that scene was kind of muted, but then it's also, what do you want him to do?
Yeah.
This is a very CG heavy movie. And I should also mention, when we found this out too late to have on our 3D expert, but this is a 3D movie. So many things like make sense when you hear that, like, oh, that's why the logo was the way it was. And there's elements that like would be very neat in 3D. I can see like them trying to do something, because that's as we talked about with like Friday the 13th 3D. 3D's a dumb gimmick. It's more fun to have like your stuff coming at you or whatever. Yeah. And so like later in the car chase scene, I could see that being kind of fun. The problem with a lot of it is that when you do 3D, you have to reduce the brightness.
Yeah.
And you're wearing glasses. It's like that. Most of the action takes place at night.
Yep.
So I have no idea how that's going to work. But like, I think that the director, Craig Gillespie, did some interesting shots with that, like where there'd be something blurry going on in the background, to really like played with the depth of it.
Yeah.
Because that's, again, the strength of 3D versus stuff coming out at you. It's creating more depth and that you're inside. And so I think if I had seen this in 3D, there might have been some interesting stuff, but I don't know if it would have worked very well considering the technical limitations of it.
Yeah, I had completely forgotten that this was 3D, and I didn't like you saying that the titling in 3D. That makes total sense to me, because I can see, I remember that being like kind of funny looking.
And there's like trails of blood behind it and whatever. They did a smart job of not making it, this is a 3D movie.
Yeah.
It was just, by that point, it was like, look, your movie's going to be in 3D, whether you want it to be or not. We have to make this technology work.
Yeah.
And so I think they still managed to make a movie that doesn't look as just like flat and awful as some of the other ones do.
Then there's a really dumb scene in the library about porn, because if a young man is on the internet in 2011, he makes a joke about, looking at porn. I don't even remember what she's upset with him about, but
because he's been acting weird, because he's looking through like Ed's files. He wants to try to meet up with Peter Vincent, and he's been ignoring her. And like, she kind of was like, hey, I threw myself at you and you did nothing about it.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, hey, say la vie, I guess. I got magicians to look at.
Right. And library porn. But yeah, he ends up going to see the Peter Vincent show. He is doing the Blade Runner undercover journalist type of routine, trying to talk to Peter Vincent. The show is all ostentatious and ridiculous. This is our first real glimpse of Peter Vincent, and all of our criticisms from earlier are stemming from right now.
Yeah. Don't forget those.
Yeah.
It immediately introduces him as a charlatan.
Yeah.
Yes, this stage persona is a persona, and he's actually just kind of a Russell Brand asshole.
Yeah.
Wow. Who would have guessed?
Right.
Which, I think that, and it's just, I guess my personal taste is that I like that the reveal is that Peter Vincent is in the original is pathetic. He's just this sad old man who's just coasting on previous dreams of glory. Yeah, it's Peter Vincent's doing fine. He's doing great.
Yeah.
He's like, this flame trick didn't work, so we have to shut down for the day. Yeah, you'll get it to work and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, no one's coming to the show anymore or whatever. It's just, he is rich, lives in an amazing penthouse, has a whole bunch of like crazy vampire stuff because he's way into it. And he gets, Charlie gets a little tour from his assistant, girlfriend, whatever, Rosa, who's in just a completely open robe and shouting at Peter Vincent.
Yeah. They make a running gag of him just taking off more and more pieces of like long hair, beard. I don't know. It was barely funny the first time, and they kept going with it to just show like, oh, this is a whole getup. But still, it's not much of a persona because he actually is this way. It's just more of like a aesthetic choice.
He just doesn't have long hair. Okay.
Right. Big deal.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, I hate all this horror stuff, because he's actually way into it.
Yeah.
Well, a thing that drove me nuts about this, there's a lot of subtext made text in this movie, because Peter sees through the ruse pretty quickly and is like, why are you writing a story about vampires?
Yeah.
Is this like your first day? He's like, yeah. He's like, oh, I get to pop your cherry. Oh, is Peter virgin? Is he a young man approaching, like making a change in his life? Wow, that's crazy. Oh, are you going to be this father figure that's also useless? Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's that when he sits down with him, this font of vampire knowledge, he's like, so how would you kill a vampire? Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, you could walk on the street and ask any number of people and they would probably know it.
Sure.
You know, like it's just like a stake through the heart, because he didn't offer anything that interesting. As like, well, secretly it's actually this or this. This is just, Sunlight.
Yeah.
You were looking up stuff online. You could have figured this out.
Absolutely. They make a big stink later on about Peter finally coming around, knowing that information later on. Like, I don't know why in this scene he wouldn't have been like, oh, do you actually have a vampire? Like next door? Like, there's no reason why he wouldn't say that to me.
Because I understand you know, like, oh, this is crazy. He's convinced himself vampires aren't real. Fine. But what I love is when he's like, I got to get rid of this kid. Mm-hmm. You know who I should get to stop him? I don't have any security or anything. I'll just get my half naked girlfriend and deal with it. Again, just surrounded by assholes.
Yeah.
He's like, you deal with him. He leaves and whatever.
Yeah. There is a very fast scene where Dave Franco and the other bully kid are scoping out Jerry's house, and they get dispatched very quickly in a little blood geyser.
Yeah, it's really inexplicable what happens there, because, it just cuts to Charlie's at home hanging up crosses in his room.
Yeah.
And then like Dave Franco and the other nameless kid, because the whole group of friends don't matter. Like we talked about in the first one, in the original, how like Charlie doesn't seem to have any friends, and there's just kind of these three characters. Yeah, there's a reason, because otherwise you just have these bodies that are just filling up. Like, all of Amy's friends are just like, oh, I have some ethnic friends that will just serve as set dressing.
Right.
The other bully and Dave Franco are watching him for some reason.
Yeah.
We've learned through Evil Ed, or through the interaction with Evil Ed, that Dave Franco lives in that area as well, or he's not too far off, but like they're just there. And then Jerry kills him. You see a lot of blood, but when Jerry comes out of the car, he's just got a little on his mouth.
Yeah. Right.
Like, there's no blood anywhere else. Okay.
That's it.
He could have sucked it off his shirt too, I guess.
It's also just now occurring to me that the nameless bully is, I mean, I hate even saying this word, but it's very 2011. So he's like kind of a emo style.
Yeah, and he's a scene kid.
Yeah, which I thought was not a cool kid, because I thought all the emo kids thought that they were nerds, but just listen to music. I don't know, but
I think he listened to the right bands. Like, he listened to My Chemical Romance.
Yeah,
which is probably
the popular
cool.
Ones. Yeah, for sure. So Jerry shows up saying that Charlie is harassing him, and luckily Toni Collette sides with Charlie. Then Jerry comes back with some tools and heads right to the backyard. And I did think it was kind of great, just him just tearing up the yard.
Yeah, it's this, like, the cat and mouse element of it just really isn't there. It doesn't have the finesse of the original Jerry, because rather than try to ingratiate himself to the mom and come in, he just like ramps it up to 100, where it's like, hey, your son's been harassing me and breaking into my house. Charlie's like, no, don't let him in. This is all a plot. And the mom's like, well, why don't you talk to the authorities about it? So Colin Farrell's like, okay, I'll blow up your house.
Yes. Yeah.
Part of the reason that Charlie doesn't want to go to the cops is because, you saw him earlier kind of charm the couple of officers that he was with. And I feel like there's like elements of this idea of what you can get away with being a charming, handsome white guy that you could really deal with or really like delve into, but they don't. They just really stop short. And I understand, woke wasn't really invented until like 2014.
Yeah.
But still, it's just like conceptually, it's just they don't do enough with that.
Sure.
And so to him, like, just like, well, I'll just blow up your house and it won't be a big deal is a bit of a jump. Because he just doesn't care. Like, there's no subterfuge with this guy.
Yeah.
There's barely any, it's not like he settled in. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to try and make this work and be here for as long as possible. He's like, fuck it. I don't care. I'll move again.
Right. And he just destroyed another family. Just a few doors down. So now he's going to explode a house.
Yeah. I'm sure like the other side of me, the family's been murdered. Left side of me, the house has been blown up. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
All I know is that all you need to know is that I'm blameless and look elsewhere.
And I work nights in construction.
I work nights in construction.
Yeah.
Would you like me to flex for you? I can do that.
Yes. I did laugh when he said, no need for an invitation if there's no house, because they're totally just trying to bend that rule. And that made me laugh. They embark on a car chase because the mom and Charlie jump in a car, drive away. Jerry jumps on a motorcycle because he's a cool guy.
But the motorcycle's busted, but he still uses vampire powers to catch up with them.
I did think it was cool when he threw the motorcycle through the back of the car. That's a 3D shot.
I like how the action is all like one camera inside the car.
Yes.
And it's just slowly rotating around, getting everyone. But like, I can see that the idea behind that being a very effective with 3D, where there's stuff going, they're driving past stuff. But then, the motorbike gets tossed through the back window.
Yep.
And then he catches up and he's like busting through the floor. But it has a little bit of that late 2000s witty dialogue.
Oh no, that's fucked up vampire hand. Now do you believe me?
Yeah, that vampire hand coming up, that's not okay.
Just scream and hit it. That's what I want.
Right. They end up running over him. He comes up through the floorboard. The car comes to a stop. Colin Farrell's monster face comes out, I think for the first time, and it looks awful.
First time we've really seen it. Yeah.
It's terrible. Like
it's more lizardy than like wolf or
undead looking.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
But the point is it's 100% CGI. There's no cool makeup, prosthetics or anything. And then lo and behold, a driver drives up to see what's going on, and it is Chris Sarandon in a little cameo role as JD.
It's JD.
Yeah. Jerry Dandridge. He gets attacked by Jerry immediately and killed. So he gets killed by the newer version of himself, which is perfectly fine.
It's fine. It's nice to see him.
Yeah,
I always like seeing Chris Sarandon. So.
At this point, Charlie tries to use the cross powers, but Jerry sets the cross on fire. And then Toni Collette stabs him in the back with a real estate sign. And I do like how Jerry moves as he's stabbed. He really uncanny. I should have looked this up. It almost seemed like there was a contortionist body double or something like that.
That would be my guess. Yeah.
But I really like the way he moved in this very, very strange sort of way.
Yeah, that freakish, because they don't go, even when they go like full monster, it's CG, but he's still like, his face is different, but he's still mostly human. He doesn't have that like bulked up thing that Chris Sarandon had in the first one. But yeah, it really makes him much more monstrous when he's like wriggling around on all fours trying to get this sign out from his back. Yeah. That was a neat bit of physical performance there. And then when the car drives away, I like that use of depth, because you see the car drive away and then it's pans over to his arm that's like broken and it's fixing itself. And just the sound design and the look of that was very effective, I thought.
Well, if we forgot about Evil Ed, he's back now, because Charlie is up at Peter Vincent's penthouse, a buzzed delivery man, and it is Evil Ed. This feels more like an SNL joke than like a plot point for an emotional beat. But vampire as delivery man. Oh, you got to invite him in.
Yeah, Peter Vincent gets drunk and orders stuff on eBay like everyone does. And it turns out that was a ruse. The delivery man is Evil Ed, comes in and it's revealed. Oh my God. But when he's confronted with the vampire, Peter Vincent is scared and runs away. A magician? Lying?
Yeah.
Crazy. Right. But yeah, he goes into like a panic room and Evil Ed tries to get him. And in the process gets his arm chopped off by the closing door. But then later when he and Charlie are fighting and Charlie tries to chop his head off, and he's like, you can't get through bone. Your bones are garbage, man. A door got rid of it. So
just a panic room door slamming shut on it. Charlie eventually gets the upper hand in like this little fight with Ed and stakes him through the heart. And there goes.
Again, because we're comparing it so much to the original, you have just lost that emotional beat. I tell you that, like 100%. How real this has become.
Yeah.
Like your childhood friend, you just stabbed. And I mean, obviously in the original one, it was Peter Vincent realizing like, I just killed a human. But so there, in theory, should be a lot more weight to it than it really is, because it feels less like the emotional human connection there and more just like, it's come to this.
Mm-hmm.
I have to take the mantle now and be a man here.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means killing your friends.
Yeah, right. Yes, the emotional weight was about as thin as the CGI effect of him just sort of dissipating into the floorboards. Meanwhile, Amy is like kind of trying to get away from Jerry. She ends up tossing some holy water in his face, and that's effective. So there are weapons around here.
Yes, Peter Vincent has all this stuff, and we can use some of it. Yeah, she tries to shoot Jerry with some silver bullets, and he's like, werewolf.
Yeah.
And she throws holy water and is like, vampire.
Yeah.
It's like, just be a kid. Like, why are you quipping? But
right.
whatever.
Yes.
But yeah, she gets the upper hand on him with that. And there are all those, as they're running around Peter Vincent's palatial penthouse apartment. I was thinking about, as a friend and I were talking fairly recently about how movies now, very, very rarely are people poor in movies. People always live in some kind of architecturally very interesting looking building. Yeah, instead of just being a ruddy old apartment, it's just this beautiful.
Yeah.
And it looks nice. I get it, but it's still, I don't know. It just, again, makes it seem more removed. Like, have you ever been to a place like that? No. Have you been to some jerk's apartment? Absolutely.
Many times.
Yeah.
Yes.
But still, it is neat. And yeah, so there's a bunch of weapons and they try to use them against Jerry.
They subdue Jerry just long enough to escape, and and Charlie and Amy run out onto the strip, and they find themselves in a nightclub because, of course, we have to repeat the scene that was done infinitely better in the 1985 version.
Yeah.
This is barely there in this scene.
Yeah, well, because they've completely 86'd the idea of Amy looking like Jerry's long lost love. Jerry is not human in this. Jerry does not care.
Mm-hmm.
She's just there. So his pursuit of her is really no different than his pursuit of anyone else. So there's not really a seduction dance. It's more just, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah. At this point, we get the whole Peter Vincent backstory where his parents were killed by vampires.
Yep.
Because, of course, they were. Let's just do it now. But like, we find out that Jerry was the one who killed the vampires later on.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Because who else would it be?
Yeah.
Like he gives this whole speech about like, oh, well, this vampire, he's from this certain kind in Romania and blah, blah, blah. There's all these different kinds of vampires. No, there's not. There's just this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, movie.
Right. It just feels way too neat for me. And I don't feel more drawn to Peter's character now at this point. Like, plus I could just be like, well, he's probably lying about this too. Like, why wouldn't he be, Sure. Yeah. That like, so then you decided to become a magician? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what, because his excuse is that, well, so I tried to tell myself that none of it was real.
Yeah. But
that I was still obsessed with it. And that's why I have all these stupid artifacts and vampire merch.
I hate this kind of thing. But he breaks out, what is it, a stake or something, and just says, basically, if you use this to kill the vampire, it will bring back everybody that the vampire has turned.
Yeah. It's blessed by Saint Michael. Rather than just being like, if you kill the head vampire, everyone else is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just as dumb, but at least it's like, well, that's established dumb.
Yeah.
That's not a magical trinket.
I dislike that kind of fantasy writing where it's just like, we can turn back anything of significance if you use this one weapon. So you won't have to worry about your friends dying, etc. Everything will go back to normal. There will be no consequence. It's just way too easy. I don't like that kind of stuff.
At least in the first one, they had put a timetable on it where it's like, if we can kill him before Amy wakes up, or like before the sun rises, really, then Amy will be fine. That's before it takes. But now it's just like, but that's not new for vampire stuff.
Yeah.
But it is just sort of outlining that like, look, would you like to erase any consequences? Use this stake.
Yeah, now they've got a little bit of a suiting up montage, and as far as suiting up montages go, this one is pretty low on the scale. Peter Vincent now shows up in a whole bunch of like killer gear and everything, and I know that this is the moment that we're supposed to cheer. Like, oh, it's Han Solo, he's coming back to help us, but I felt nothing.
Well, I wasn't sure how. Well, I wasn't sure how Peter Vincent called him in the first place. Did he leave his number the first time?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then when he shows up at the house, how do you know where the house is?
Right. Yeah.
Like I guess from the printouts he showed him. I don't know. That just seemed very convenient, but it was like, okay, fine, whatever. Let's just get this thing moving.
Yeah. He's got vampire detection, some sort of.
Well, he knows vampire methodology.
Yes,
He has that book. Yeah. So they're going to team up and fight the vampires together, and Peter immediately whizzes it.
I wrote in my notes a lot of dead rise, but I can't see any of them. So I think there was a moment where Jerry kind of like undead magical powers to raise a whole bunch of people up. And I guess they're also vampires or something like that. They're just like undead cannon fodder. For
everyone he's killed that Charlie hasn't blown up already is hanging on, because the kind of vampire he is trying to rebuild his army, which he doesn't have for reasons unexplained. Yeah. That he had to get rid of them all before. I guess that seems so much more needlessly complicated than just he's a vampire. He's got to eat people. Yeah. He's just trying to lay low. Whereas this, no, I'm building an army that I just lost somehow. Don't worry about it. That's why all your friends are around. And I specifically went for your friends rather than people I would enjoy hanging out with or, talking to. I want to hang out with teens. Yes.
So there's a bunch of really meaningless action here. A lot of CGI explosions and vampires getting stabbed and that kind of stuff. At this point now, Amy wants to bite Charlie because Amy has been turned from the club scene. She gets a little bit of that famous face, the shark mouth, but it's not really there. Jerry basically shows up and takes Amy and like full on turns her. And this is just kind of where my notes just stopped because I realized I was just watching a big giant CGI mess. Oh yeah, there's that whole bit of Charlie putting on a burn suit.
Because there was a throwaway line earlier when he's talking to when David Tennant's come around.
There's no guarantee he'll be sleeping. You're gonna stake him, you gotta get close. Torch him. A vampire on fire is not thinking clearly.
If he's on fire, how do I get close enough to stake him?
Yeah, that's dumb. Oh yeah, you're right. And then he's like, what I should do though is that plan. Yeah. Because they seem kind of hopeless. Because I do like that idea. That concept is very scary of they've shot holes in the ceiling so that sunlight can go in, and they're in this beam of sunlight. And Jerry's like, we can wait, man. Like you just bought yourself some time and you're just going to sit there. The sun's going to go down and we'll still be here.
Totally.
So to get away, he's like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set myself on fire and lunge at Jerry.
Right.
He does, but it keeps cutting to, and again, like the idea behind this, I support. I just don't think it worked well in the flow of things where you're supposed to getting in 3D, getting a POV of Jerry, like through the glasses, the goggles that that Charlie's wearing. And you could really see the depth or whatever, but just it breaks up the action in a way that isn't very effective. And you're just looking at this big CG mess. It's not very compelling compared to the real action in like a guy on fire.
Right.
But yeah, sure enough, he's able to get Jerry on fire enough that he can stab him in the heart, and then sunlight hits him too, and he blows up.
And everyone's fine. Oh yeah, no consequences. Everybody's fine. Does Evil Ed come back?
Evil Ed's dead. No, because Evil Ed died.
Yes, that's true. So yeah, and our little epilogue now is Charlie and Amy finally having sex
on the floor of Peter Vincent's apartment.
That's right. Yeah,
I guess that was like, hey, thanks.
You're right. Here's my pad.
You can have sex on a tile floor.
Yes,
you're welcome.
I mean,
also I'm going to be there and I might wander in.
Yeah,
but
I was just noticing that Anton Yelchin was ripped in this scene.
Oh yeah,
man, like a 8 or 10 pack going. Good man. It's like he worked out for like months for that one scene, I'm sure.
Yeah, they had him on that Camille Nanjiani shit just to have him do one.
Yes. Yeah.
A more specific point I should mention, or rather a correction. Evil Ed is not dead exactly, because he'll be back in the next one.
Oh, okay.
Because in the next one, it's straight to video.
Oh, right.
So you know where they are.
Oh, Romania or
they're in Romania,
Budapest or something. Yes.
Yep, they're in Romania.
Okay, hell yes.
And the plot of it is they actually go to Romania. So
really?
But for some reason, Evil Ed is still alive. And I don't know if it's like just like an Elseworlds where this didn't happen or what. I was just reading a little synopsis and that Ed is still there in Romania.
Is it Christopher Mintz-Plasse?
No. Okay. God, no.
He's not going to Romania for a straight to DVD movie.
Anyone that you recognize from this movie, you will not be seeing them in the next one.
Okay.
As we kind of talked about, it's fine.
It's fine.
It's just A lot of my beefs with it are compared to the first one, but it's like for just a dumb vampire movie, it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just went like a year later. They're like, we're throwing this thing to video. I don't care. No, to DVD. I don't care.
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, the director is not exactly been in director jail or anything like that. He's directing the DC Supergirl movie right now.
Yeah. Yeah. He's done a lot of TV stuff as well.
Constantly working. He did Lars and the Real Girl in 2007. So this was only a few years after that. But yeah, so dude is still successful at doing this kind of thing. So good for him. Yeah, let's honor our dead. Adam Johnson's sister, drained by Jerry. Adam Johnson's mother, drained by Jerry. Adam Johnson's dad, played by Eb Lottimer, drained by Jerry. Adam Johnson, played by Will Denton, killed by Jerry. Doris, played by Emily Montague, vampire bite from Jerry, sunlight explosion. Ben Wegner, played by Reed Ewing, eaten by Jerry. JD, played by Chris Sarandon, bitten by Jerry. Ginger, played by Sandra Bergara, bitten by Evil Ed. Guard, played by Chris Ramney, bitten by Jerry. Evil Ed, played by Christopher Mintz-Pass, bitten by Jerry, turned, stake through the heart. Vamp 1, played by Bonnie Morgan, stake through the heart. Vamp 2, played by Michelle Watterson, stake through the heart. Jerry, played by Colin Farrell, stake through the heart. Sunlight, struck by Charlie Brewster. Yeah, just to reiterate, and I think I just agree with you, it's just like this movie is very okay.
Yeah.
And I think the things that I don't like about it are just watching it in such close proximity to the original and then my just personal taste.
Right.
So I really try to divide up what makes sense versus what is my personal taste. And yes, making Peter Vincent a Chris Angel makes sense in some degree, although, as we've already said, he's not sympathetic at all. Throwing Christopher Mintz-Plasse at the time as Evil Ed, that makes sense on paper, not my personal taste, you know.
You see what's being lost if you know what's there before. Whereas, you know, if you're just coming at this, it's for a teen, you know, even though it's like pretty gory and not like a PG-13 version of it. Those trappings, like that style of dialogue or whatever, I hate. I just hate. But people liked it.
Yeah. Now you saying Romania for part 2 got me very excited.
Yeah.
To dive into that. And I didn't even know until looking at this list the sequel to this existed. So
yeah.
It's again dredging the depths for the podcast.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if this didn't make what they thought it was going to make. But yeah, they just dumped it to DVD.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah. All right, everyone. So what did you think of this? I know a lot of people like this one and that's totally great. I would be curious, like who saw this one before the original? And if that colors your interest in this film or the original for sure. Like, do you go from Colin Farrell to Christopher Sarandon? Who's your vampire hunk? That's basically what I want to know. Yeah. Who's your preferred hunk?
Yeah.
But yeah, join us next time for part 2. And until then, you can email us at thismayhurtabitpod@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram. We're probably the most active at thismayhurtabitpod. And YouTube at thismayhurtabit. So fire up that part 2, and we will see you in a couple of weeks. Good night.
Good night.
This has been a Caretaker Press production. It was produced by James Strayer and edited by John C. Myers. Logo by Ethan Kimberling and music by Michael Arthur Holloway, who you can find on Bandcamp. Follow us on Instagram at thismayhurtabitpod and email us at thismayhurtabitpod@gmail.com. Give us a 5-star review over on your favorite podcast app, and we'll see you next time.